Despite families making financial cuts in a struggling economy, Americans are still putting a budget aside for a family vacation this year. But before you pack your bags, visit retailmenot.com for travel tips, savings, and etiquette. Trae Bodge is senior writer editor for retailmenot.com's Insider Magazine. Good morning, Trae. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
RetailMeNot.com's new vacation poll found that most Americans will be taking a vacation this year, but it's the men that are more likely to splurge on spending than women. That surprises me. Tell me a little bit about the poll's findings and what stood out to you the most.
I thought that was actually really interesting that men are more likely to splurge. They're actually twice as likely. And, you know, we talked about it around here and thought that maybe it's because women are still a little bit more in tune with the household expenses. So I think before you go ahead and book a trip, I think you need to sit down with your partner and work out a budget. The other thing that we found is that a lot of people are not saving in advance for their trips, and yet they're putting them on credit cards. And, you know, we were very concerned to hear that, obviously, because, you know, the amount people are planning to spend is about $1,000 per person. So, you know, for a family of four, that's $4,000 on your credit card. And, you know, how long is that going to take you to pay off?
Absolutely.
It's going to end up costing a lot more than you anticipated.
Sure, because you'll have the interest on top of everything else. These are interesting findings.
Right.
I'm curious, is it cheaper if you book a travel package like air plus hotel or go a la carte? Like, what would you say is better?
I think that's a great question, and what we're finding is that actually airlines, there's not a lot of wiggle room on the prices right now with airfares. However, you can save a lot if you bundle. So, you know, hotel and airfare combos, for instance, you can save, you know, $200 in one vacation, which is a lot. In fact, on our retailmenot.com travel page, we found a great deal with Southwest, you know, out of Albuquerque. There's a hotel coupon for $75 off for a trip to Vegas, and that includes one night free at the Wynn, which is actually a 4-star hotel. We actually found another deal as well through Orbitz. It's $450 per person, which is flight and hotel to Orlando for 1 week. And so given the fact that people are intending to spend $1,000 per person, this is actually half that. So that's a huge savings, and I think much lighter on the wallet in the long run.
That's great. $450 for an entire week, and that's airfare and hotel?
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I haven't seen
Orlando.
A lot of deals. And the Wynn Hotel, by the way, beautiful rooms, beautiful amenities. That's another great deal. And so I know a lot of people will take you up on maybe trying out some of those tips. In the meantime, I want to also ask you this, because outside of hotel and transportation costs, where are you finding that most adults are spending the vacation money?
They're spending a lot of money on food and drinks, and then, you know, slightly less than that on activities and excursions. So another way, I think, to save is to look for all-inclusives. There are a lot of great resorts out there that offer food, drinks, and often excursions, bike rentals, and things like that, all wrapped up into one package. So you can save a lot going with those package deals.
Oh, wow, that's a great idea. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how packages can make everything so much easier to afford. And something else interesting is that the poll found that almost half of Americans, and we're talking 48%, don't tip the hotel staff. That totally bothers me. Should people be setting aside money for hotel staffs for those tips?
They absolutely should. I mean, the folks that are cleaning our hotel rooms, they rely on our tips. You know, they get paid a wage, obviously, but it's not a lot. And, you know, for us to spend, you know, $2 or $3 a day for the service of someone to clean up after us is really nothing. And so we should not stay in hotels and not tip. It's just not okay.
It's not okay. And I know you mentioned that a lot of people are putting their vacation costs on credit cards. So I know there's a downside to that. What would you recommend they do so that they can balance a little bit better in their budget if they're having a hard time and that's why they're using their credit cards?
Well, you know, my approach is, you know, you should definitely be saving throughout the year. You know, decide where you want to go, how much you think you want to spend, and then put aside a little bit every month. You know, and then the bottom line is, if it's not in the cards for you to take a big extravagant vacation, you know, I think at the last couple of years, people were getting kind of comfortable with the staycation idea. So there's always the staycation to stay at home. But then, you know, driving trips are actually really reasonable these days. Gas prices are falling, so that's encouraging. So if you can't go to that, you know, if you can't go to Cancun or Puerto Vallarta, you can definitely drive somewhere, you know, leave Albuquerque and go to a nearby city and have an adventure there. Yeah, I mean, there are great ways to save also when you're on the road to fill up with gas. An app like Gas Buddy will actually help you find the cheapest gas stations nearby. And then the retailmenot.com app actually that we just launched, you can actually find hotel deals on the road. So if you're going to hit the road and not book a hotel in advance, you can find deals on the way.
Oh, perfect. And I know you mentioned the Orlando and the Vegas trips. Are there any other great vacation deals going on right now for families?
Those are the best ones that we found on our site. However, a good destination right now for summer out of any city is Florida because it's off season, and obviously, they're trying to get their economy back and going, and tourism is very, very big for them, and it's fallen in recent years. So, definitely check out Florida. I mean, there's so many great destinations like Orlando and Fort Lauderdale and Miami, so that's a good state to look to travel to.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think a lot of times you can save a little more in Florida in the summer because it's a little hotter and not as many people going. So if you could find a way to budget, it certainly makes it even more worthwhile. And so finally, if people want to get more information, where do they need to go?
Retailmenot.com, you can just type in travel and you'll find so many deals, so many great package deals through services like Orbitz, Expedia, and Priceline. So that's a great place to start. And then, of course, if you're on the go, the retailmenot.com app as well.
Great. Such good advice. Thank you so much, Trae. Really, we appreciate you being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Nikki.
And safe travels to you throughout the summer. We'll be right back.